Hello and welcome to Lesson 7 in our Rubank Elementary Method Tuba series. Today we're talking about the tie and dotted half notes. If you're new to this series, it is for younger tuba players, newer tuba players, or anybody who wants to work a little bit on their fundamentals. I'm trying to take everything I've learned in the last over 10 years of playing the tuba and share it on this channel, share it with you guys. There are so many things that only a tuba player can really explain to another tuba player, and so we're gonna jump right into this. It is so important to recognize how important tuba players are. I feel like a lot of the times in band classes, tuba players don't get enough credit. They are occasionally told how important they are, but they're never really explained why, or they're told they're important and then they're just kind of left in the back to figure it out. A good sounding tuba section and one that knows how to read the rhythms on the page is only gonna help the band. It is so important for a tuba player to be able to see rhythms and be able to play it smoothly. And I think a lot of the times tuba players notice, I'm not getting the same kind of music that these other instruments in the band are getting. My rhythms are a little bit easier. I don't have to worry about what I'm playing because it's pretty simple. But it's so important to keep in mind that the tuba is a relatively new instrument. It really only came around in the 1850s. The first solo piece for the tuba came around in the 1950s. So in a lot of ways, I think composers are still trying to learn what they need to write for the tubas and how. If you look at several of the modern composers, they are writing more and more difficult things for the tuba. So long story short, basically what I'm saying here is do not take these new rhythms for granted, like, oh, I rarely have to use these rhythms. I don't need to worry about this. As we're going through this book and we're learning new things, keep that in mind. With this tie, with the dotted half notes, it is so important that we are playing with the full value, right? In number 1, for example, we have 5 beats per measure. We can't just cut off the music at 4. We have to have 5 beats of sound. The same goes with the dotted half notes. In example 5, we want 3 beats of sound on every dotted half note. With a tie note through the measure, keep in mind that we do not tongue that. I know a lot of young students who see the new note, see the new measure, and they try to tongue it, but that is not the case for a tie note. Like in example 2, for example, what you're essentially doing is you're playing 2 beats, you're playing that half note, and then you're playing a whole note. You're playing 4 beats, but if the composer had wrote a whole note, it wouldn't really make sense, it wouldn't line up, so this is the easiest way to do it, through a tie. So this is a pretty self-explanatory page as far as this rhythm, as long as we're holding it out for the appropriate length. Keep in mind, in the last lesson, we introduced the key of E flat. Most of this page is on the key of E flat, but there is one line that is not in E flat. Go ahead and look for that now. Keep that in your mind as we play this through. We'll be playing it through at 92 beats per minute. Now, before we play 6, look at the little note at the bottom of the page. Practice softly, learn to conserve the breath so as to get maximum tone with minimum effort. Practice daily on slow, even, sustained tones. Really focus on that for this last one. You're gonna have to play a little softer if you wanna hold those 2 whole note ties together with a nice solid tone for the appropriate length. Give it a shot and play it a couple times just to get a feel at exactly how much air you need to use. Okay, and that pretty much wraps up this lesson. I feel like adding these new rhythms, adding the dotted half notes to the tide really helps us in our journey to start making music. Especially number 4, number 5, I hope you can tell that I had a little bit more style in that one. It wasn't just holding out notes for a long time. There was some rest, there was some variations in the length of the notes. All of that adds to the overall purpose of making good music. These online lessons are great, but they do not replace one-on-one private lessons. Check the description down below for more information on a private lesson with me. If you don't live in my area, private lessons are completely doable, especially at this level. We can get together online. You can play some things for me. I can give you some feedback, and it's really a great way to make a lot of progress. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Go make life musical, and I'll see you next week.